The Untold History, a podcast by the Hispanic Council with the collaboration of the Spanish Ministry of Defense to get to know great Spanish figures in the history of the United States. Today, Juan Ponce de León. Here lie the bones of a lion. This is not a zoo sign. These are the words written on a tomb in the Cathedral of San Juan Bautista, in the capital of Puerto Rico. There lies a man who was a lion, more than because of his last name, because of his feats. A pioneer in the colonization of the New World, founder of San Juan, the first European to see American soil, discoverer of the very profitable Gulf Stream. We are talking, of course, about Juan Ponce de León. We know little about the first years of his life, and that amount is a matter of discussion among historians. Was he the son of a noble lineage or of a lower class? Was he the son of legitimate parents or a bastard child? There is no agreement either on his year of birth. Some place it at 1460 and others in 1474. Less doubts seem to arise on the place where he was born. San Tervas in Tierra de Campos, north of Valladolid. It also seems as confirmed that he arrived in America as a crew member in Columbus's second voyage to the Indies in 1493. Although there are those who say that he did so almost a decade later, in the detachment of the new governor of Hispaniola, Nicolás de Ovando. The fog around the figure of Juan Ponce de León dissipates in 1504, when we read his name for the first time in a historical document. He was involved in the operation to suppress the second uprising of the natives in Higüey, and he did so as captain of Santo Domingo, the capital of Hispaniola. Governor Ovando would not have entrusted him with such a task if he had not counted him among his men of confidence, and if Ponce de León had not accredited him with sufficient skills regarding war. As a reward for services rendered, Ovando appoints him lieutenant of Salvaleón, a Spanish village destined to strengthen the Spanish control in the very tough region of Higüey. There, Ponce de León built a fortress house. He moved to live with his wife and 4 children. He grew yucca and raised cattle, and there anyone else would have satisfied his hunger for wealth and thirst for glory. But Ponce de León was not just any other man. His pursuit of success finds no rest on the shores of the beaches of Hispaniola, no matter how white the sand and transparent the water. His ambition was to be on the other side of the Mona Canal. The Taíno Indians told him the story of the immense riches that await in Borinquen, an island discovered by Christopher Columbus, but not colonized. The possibilities of wealth have Ponce de León talking to himself, daydreaming. In 1508, he obtained permission from Governor Ovando to explore the island. He did so with 50 men, including Spanish settlers and native guides, at his own expense. In an unhealthy and dangerous place, between mountains and swamps, as it read in a chronicle of the time, Juan Ponce de León founds the first settlement in Borinquen, baptized by the Spaniards as San Juan, today's Puerto Rico. A year later, in 1509, Ponce returned to Hispaniola, where he told Governor Ovando about his troubles and setbacks, and, more importantly, about his feats and achievements. The Taíno Indians came up short when it came to making his dream. Borinquen, that is San Juan, is richer in gold than he had been told. Ovando signs the capitulations so that he can return to the island and exploit its riches, on the condition that he bears the expenses and distributes the profits with the crown, with which he has to form a society. In 1510, Ferdinand the Catholic names him governor, captain, and judge of San Juan. Nothing and nobody can stop the irresistible ascension of Juan Ponce de León. Sure? A year earlier, in 1509, Diego Columbus, the oldest son of the admiral and new governor of the island, had arrived at Hispaniola to replace the deposed Ovando. To the danger of the Indians' arrows, Ponce de León now adds the danger of political intrigues for having been on Ovando's side. However, he has the support of the king, who keeps him in office until 1511. That year, Columbus wins his lawsuit with the crown, recovering the rights and privileges of his father, becoming viceroy and deposing Ponce. Far from being consumed by the rumination of revenge, the former governor, captain, and judge of San Juan dreams of new enterprises. Since the discovery of the New World, the Spanish have heard countless legends of an island of infinite wealth to the north of Cuba. Bimini, the Indians call it. Bartolome Columbus, Diego's brother, is following their trail. King Ferdinand the Catholic, suspicious of the admiral's son's unbridled ambition, entrusts the expedition to a man not at all suspected of sympathy for the Columbus family, Juan Ponce de León. In 1512, the king signs the capitulation to discover and populate the islands of Bimini. If Columbus left in search of the Indies and ended up discovering America, something similar would happen to our protagonist on a smaller scale. Looking for the enigmatic Bimini, he found what at first was thought to be an island. It was Sunday, March 27th, Easter, or Pascua Florida in Spanish. For this reason, Ponce de León baptized the territory as La Florida. This was not the only discovery of the expedition. Another discovery was the Gulf Stream, which would, for centuries, make possible the return of Spanish ships loaded with wealth, key in the progress of the empire. Ponce de León was not aware of this discovery of incalculable proportions, nor was he aware that Florida was only a sample of the immense mainland extended to the west to the Pacific and to the north to the ice of the Arctic, where, with time, would start growing the country that, in our day, is the main engine of history, the United States. More than making it to history books, Ponce de León was concerned about protecting himself from his enemies, who were waiting for him in Hispaniola with accusations of not being clear on his financial dealings with the crown. Despite being condemned to pay a considerable amount, from which he would be compensated over the years, he did not lose the sympathy of his king, who confirmed him as an adelantado, governor and judge of Florida for the rest of his days. Such appointments are proof that the success of the expedition never depended on the discovery of a legendary fountain, whose prodigious waters made old men young again. Moreover, such a quest was never an intention of Ponce de León or Ferdinand the Catholic, nor does it appear in any of the company's documents. A pity. A pity for the thousands of American retirees who every year settle in Florida in response to the claim that Florida is the land of eternal youth, and pity for Juan Ponce de León himself. Had such a fountain existed, our man would not have returned to Cuba in 1521 to cure himself of the poisoned arrow in his leg that would end up causing his death. Even though, if we look at it properly, there are no waters that preserve youth better than those sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent waters of history. In them, Juan Ponce still makes a splash. 500 years after such a feat, Old Lion still roars.